Have you ever felt a strange sense of wonder or perhaps a slight discomfort when a young child stares at you without ever once blinking? This intense gaze is far from a simple act of curiosity. It marks the beginning of what scientists call a profound and silent neural intrusion. Behind those innocent eyes, a tiny, developing brain is performing a monumental task, using your presence as a mirror to build its own unique consciousness. They are not just looking at you, they are borrowing your nervous system, using your expressions and your stability to construct their very sense of self. As the gaze holds, a bridge of light forms between two worlds. Information flows from your eyes into the deep, waiting corridors of the infant's brain. This is a masterpiece of biological engineering, where every second of eye contact acts as a vital spark for the creation of complex neural connections. Whether they are eating or playing, that steady gaze remains an anchor, a way for the child to download the essential blueprints of being human. In these sacred moments of silence, the baby's mind is asking 1,000 questions, seeking the foundation of trust and love in your steady reflection. The visual cortex is working at maximum capacity, translating the shapes and colors of your face into the language of neurons and biological memory. You are the most important data point in their universe, a living guide helping them map out the complex landscape of human emotion and social interaction. Let us journey deeper into this neural construction site, where your presence serves as the primary scaffolding for the growth of a brand new soul. At birth, the human brain is an unfinished masterpiece. It arrives with a powerful processor but lacks the sophisticated operating system needed for life. Think of the baby's brain as a laptop and yourself as the external hard drive, providing the necessary data for the system to boot up correctly. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and emotional control, is still largely offline, waiting for external signals to trigger its vital developmental stages. When they look at you, they are downloading your emotional state, learning how to regulate their own feelings by watching the calmness or joy in you. Each facial expression you make is a technical drawing for their brain, a template that teaches them how to navigate the social world ahead. Billions of synapses are firing and connecting every single second, weaving a web of experience that will define who this child becomes in the future. Language begins not with sounds, but with the intent observed in the eyes and the movement of lips, recorded meticulously by the infant's hungry brain. This neural bridge allows the child to mimetically inhabit your state of mind, effectively using your mature brain as a temporary surrogate for their own. The complexity of the human spirit is built through these micro-interactions, where every shared glance adds another layer to the foundation of their emerging personality. When you smile, their brain mirrors that smile, creating the internal chemical sensation of happiness before they even understand what the word happy means. This is the true construction of the self, a process that is entirely dependent on the presence and engagement of another human being to succeed. The external hard drive is not just providing facts, it is providing the emotional software that will run for the rest of the child's life. Social cues, physical coordination, and the very concept of other are all forged in the furnace of this intense, unblinking visual focus and observation. Without this interaction, the prefrontal cortex remains a silent landscape, unable to organize the chaotic storm of sensory input into a coherent worldview. Joy is the fuel for this development, making the brain more plastic and receptive to the vital data being transmitted through the act of looking. Each connection made is a permanent change, a physical bridge built in the brain that will support the weight of future thoughts and complex emotions. They are sponges of consciousness, soaking up the essence of the people around them to fill the empty spaces in their own developing mind. This is why your attention is the most valuable gift you can give. It is the raw material from which a new person is made. But what happens when this essential connection is severed? Science has explored the dark side of this dependence through a famous and haunting experiment. The still face experiment reveals the fragility of the infant's world when the neural scaffolding, the caregiver's responsiveness, suddenly and unexpectedly disappears without warning. At first, the baby tries everything to regain the connection, using smiles, sounds, and gestures to wake the mother's frozen, unresponsive and empty gaze. When no response comes, the baby's internal alarm system triggers. The lack of feedback is interpreted by the primitive brain as a threat to survival. Stress levels skyrocket. Without the external regulator of the mother's face, the baby's nervous system begins to spin out of control into a state of panic. The child eventually collapses into despair, withdrawing and turning away. The psychological structure, once so promising, begins to fracture under the weight of isolation. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, takes over, flooding the system with stress hormones that scream that the world is no longer a safe place. This experiment proves that interaction is not just a luxury or a game, it is the very scaffolding that prevents the infant's psyche from crumbling. Even when the mother returns, the recovery takes time. The brain must slowly learn to trust again, rebuilding the bridge that was so suddenly broken. These jagged brain waves represent the neurological chaos that ensues when the social interface, the eyes of another, is turned off or becomes indifferent. In the absence of a mirror, the child loses their sense of existence. If no one sees me, do I even exist? This is the core fear. The physical body reacts as much as the mind. Muscles tense, digestion slows, and the immune system weakens when the social connection is severed for long. The parts of the brain responsible for high-level thinking shut down to save energy. As the system focuses entirely on survival and coping with emotional pain. Modern technology can sometimes create a digital, still face, where parents are physically present but neurologically absent, lost in the glow of their handheld devices. Repeated experiences of being ignored can lead to a fundamental fracture in the child's ability to relate to others and regulate their own internal emotional states. The effort the baby puts into fixing the relationship is heroic, showing just how hardwired we are to seek the gaze of those we depend upon. Every home is a laboratory of the soul, where the presence or absence of a loving gaze determines the future health of a child's mind. It is not about being perfect, it is about being present enough to provide the consistent scaffolding that the developing brain needs to grow strong and stable. The return of the gaze is like the return of the sun, bringing warmth and order back to the chaotic landscape of the infant's internal neurological world. Reliability in these moments builds the core of human resilience, teaching the child that even when things go wrong, they can be fixed through connection. When the bridge is strong, the baby can rest, knowing that they are safe in the eyes of the other, allowing their brain to focus on learning. This is the protective shield of attachment, a biological armor that will help the child navigate the challenges of the world with confidence and inner strength. Now, let's look at the incredible chemistry behind this connection, and how it transforms from a simple glance into a lifelong personality and character. Cortisol is the chemical of stress. In an ignored child, it accumulates, acting like a corrosive acid that can damage the developing structures of the brain. But when a child is met with a loving, responsive gaze, the brain is flooded with oxytocin, the hormone of love, trust, and social bonding. This golden chemical shower directly soothes the amygdala, teaching the brain that it doesn't need to stay in a constant state of high alert and fear. These repeated pulses of oxytocin build a brain that is wired for empathy, making it easier for the child to connect with others as they grow. The chemistry of the infant brain becomes the foundation for the character of the adult. Personality is literally sculpted by these early chemical experiences. A child who was seen and responded to grows into an adult who feels worthy of being seen, possessing a deep and unshakable sense of self-worth. They learn to soothe themselves because they were first soothed by you. Your gaze becomes the internal voice that tells them they will be okay. We carry the eyes of our parents within us forever. Their gaze becomes the lens through which we view ourselves and the entire world around us. Empathy is not a moral lesson learned later in life, it is a neurological capacity built from thousands of moments of shared gaze and mutual understanding. This resilience is the ultimate gift of early connection, providing a lighthouse of stability that can withstand the storms of adult life and personal hardship. The neural intrusion never truly stops as adults. We still use eye contact to sync our brains and understand the deeper truths of our social connections. Character is the long-term result of chemical consistency. What you do now, in silence, creates the very fabric of their future moral and emotional life. A society of individuals who were properly scaffolded is a society of empathy, where people are capable of seeing the humanity in one another truly. Every time you lock eyes with a child, you are participating in the creation of a universe. You are the architect of a new human consciousness. This is the miracle of the gaze. It turns a biological organism into a person. A soul that is capable of love, thought, and self-reflection. The eyes of a child are the most sophisticated social interface ever created by nature, designed to pull us into their world and their development. When a child looks at you, they are asking a fundamental question: who am I in your eyes? Your answer will be the foundation of their identity. The way you look back is the brick and mortar of their soul. Your gaze tells them they are valuable, seen, and worthy of love and attention. Do not look away. Do not let the distractions of the world steal these moments of creation, for they are the most important work you'll do. In that shared glance, you are not just two people, you are one system, working together to build the architecture of a brand new human mind. The gaze is the interface of love, the primary language through which we pass our humanity from one generation to the next without saying a word. Look back at the children, see them, and in doing so, help them see themselves. This is how we truly create the future, one gaze at a time. The journey of consciousness begins with a single look. Be there to meet it. Be the scaffolding they need to reach their full, magnificent potential.